Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episodes 791 through 793 of One Piece. So, if you haven't seen my reaction to the One Piece movie Dead End Adventure, or checked out the recent channel banner change, you might be really confused as to where this is coming from. Because it was, I think, since I want to say April of last year was the last time I did a One Piece reaction, and that was only after a short time of having done them that I dropped the series just to get to other stuff and to shorten things down. So if you haven't obviously seen any of that, especially the One Piece movie reaction, which I did yesterday for One Piece Day, since it was the 23rd anniversary of the show's debut, here's the gist of it. I've been wanting to get back to One Piece for a long time. Ever since I recorded the last episode, again, back early last year, I have not watched any of it. I just never got around to watching it on my own time, and I've really wanted to, and I've been missing it. Lately, I've been watching some reactions on YouTube for the series from the beginning and everything, and I realized just like, yeah, I love this series so much, I miss it. I miss watching it, and it's the series I could react to. I have no issue with that. So I'd been kind of mulling it over for quite a bit and decided, you know what, we'll add it to the channel slots as kind of the long-term thing. And if there's weeks or whatever between some uploads or whatever on some occasions, hopefully there won't be all the time, but if there is on occasion, then that's fine. Since we do this without a schedule and everything, it's not really that big of a deal. And I just want to get to reacting to it. And so, yeah, we're going to kick this off pretty much right away. But like I said, no guarantee on when more reactions to this will come. I'm going to try to keep up on it. But again, other stuff is going to kind of take priority. We'll just kind of have to see how it works out. But I did want to get to this to at least start things off with it again. So we're doing 3 episodes today. And the reason for that, the reason for 3 specifically, is because One Piece does this thing with its episodes where, in order to make sure it doesn't catch up to the manga, they have a lot of recap and shit in the episodes. Like, the first, 4 or 5 minutes of the episode, outside of, the intro, will just be recap and shit. And they do this, again, just to make sure they don't catch up. It's basically a time filler. But there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It just means that the episodes themselves tend to be a little shorter. Digimon Adventure 2020 actually does it to a lesser degree as well. But it makes the episodes a little shorter in terms of their actual content, like the actual content you're watching. So because of that, we're going to do 3 episodes, at least today. I can't guarantee we'll do 3 every time. It'll just be like any other reaction where it's just like, okay, we'll see what we're feeling today. But yeah, I'm excited to get back into this. From what I remember, and we will be watching the recap just to get a good reminder of where we're at. But from what I remember, we are in Whole Cake Island. That much I know for sure. I know that for exactly sure. We've already met Big Mom. We've learned about her power and everything, able to steal people's souls and imbue them into various pastries and sweets and shit. Um, we also have met Sanji's fiance, who I cannot remember the name of right now. Um, we've seen Sanji. We have found Sanji already, and just in general, it's like things are just starting to like kind of build up and become clear, you could say. It's like we're just finally learning more about everything. We have seen Jinbei as well. He was in the last episode, I believe, because he's on the thumbnail of the last episode reaction I did. Um, and Jinbei has been working for Big Mom, if I remember right. Um, and this was the thing he wanted to kind of break away from before he could agree to join the crew. Because that was one thing. Luffy had invited him to join the Straw Hat crew and he accepted. But he said he had to take care of some things first, and this was the big thing with that. Um, and I want to also state right off the bat that there are things I know about the future of the show. I'm not completely blind, and honestly, with as far ahead the show is at the moment, there's really no way I could have stayed completely blind. It's like 150 episodes ahead currently from where we're at. Um, so yeah, yeah. But we're definitely going to enjoy this one. I've heard a lot of good things about stuff that's coming, especially a certain character that's going to be coming up in the future of this arc, and I just really want to see where it goes. So, that being said, we're gonna get the better recap from the episode itself, and just start to go into things and hope for the best going forward. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play, because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so there's really two main aspects of these episodes. There's the part with Team Luffy going through the what are they call? What did they call them? Seducing Woods. That's it. Going through the seducing woods and getting all kinds of mentally fucked with because of it. And then there's the aspect of Sanji reconnecting with his family, his birth family, and basically just telling them to fuck off and everything. So I want to talk about the Sanji part first. Um, so prior to this arc and everything, we never really got anything regarding his family. Because in the Baratier arc and everything, where he was first introduced, his backstory started with him as a apprentice chef. He was this young apprentice chef working on a ship when the ship was uh, invaded, I guess you could call it, by the Red Shoes pirates, Chef Zeph and his crew. Um, in the storm that came up, Sanji was knocked overboard, and Zeph sacrificed his leg to save him, with the two ending up being the only survivors left alone on a deserted island. Um, Zeph sacrificed himself to be able to help Sanji, and Sanji then, once they were rescued, began to work under him, with Zeph kind of becoming a surrogate father figure to Sanji. That was really the only big backstory we've had for him. We never knew like about where his family had come from, where he came from, what his family life was like before that. It was never really explained on. We didn't even know his full name. We didn't know the Vinsmoke part. So once all this stuff starts getting introduced, you can understand why we didn't know that. Because Sanji himself has spent pretty much his entire life, these 13 years since he left, trying to just completely move on from that, trying to ignore his past and become who he wants to become. And in especially this last episode of these three we watched today, we can see why. So Sanji's family fucking sucks. The Vinsmoke royal family of Gamma 66 are absolutely horribly evil. Like, just everything about them. And obviously, Sanji's father, Vinsmoke Judge, stands at the pinnacle of that. As we saw in the flashback, Sanji was violently attacked and beaten up by his siblings, specifically by three brothers who were born on the same day. The specifics of that is unclear at the moment. It's not said whether they're like quadruplets or if they have different mothers or whatever. But the point is, they were all born on the same day. They're all the same age, and Sanji was kind of the weak link. He always was seen as the weak link in terms of his fighting ability and everything, and the fact that he would cook was seen as a weakness as well, because as they would put it, royalty doesn't cook. And there's a lot to unpack with this. A lot to unpack. Obviously, there's the holier than thou, snooty, rich attitude that they tend to have. And you see this in a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different stories and whatnot. And not all of it's like blatant royalty, but you see it in a lot of things where these well-off, rich people will often like say things along the lines of like, we have people for that and stuff. And you get a bit of that in this episode too. So it's like it kind of reminds me in a way of Weiss's father from Ruby. He was very much the same way. It's like especially with the we have people for that line. But yeah, it's just like that kind of holier than thou attitude, thinking you're better than everyone else just because you're rich, and thinking that because of it you don't do anything yourself, or that everyone is below you. Just the general kind of shit you hear all the time. So yeah, they're doing the same thing clearly here with the Vinsmoke family. Judge himself especially seems very heavy into that kind of ideology. But it seemed like Reiju, who the first time we met the other siblings and everything, Reiju and Yanji specifically, it seemed like she was going to be the more level-headed one, the nicer one, probably just a better person. But as we see now, that's not the case. Even back as a kid, she was very much against Sanji as well. She just didn't actively attack him and abuse him. She was more of the one who just sat back and watched and laughed and just found it like funny. She reveled in it in a way. And it's just as disgusting as if she were actually participating in the abuse herself. It's just as disgusting because it's not just apathy towards it. It's not just that she's apathetic towards it. It's not just that she's uh, letting it happen. She's actively finding joy in it. It amuses her, and it's disgusting. And on top of that, there also seems to be quite a bit of toxic masculinity ingrained in Vince Smoke Judge. I very much caught that. Like, before their duel and everything, it's like he basically said, like, real men talk with their fists and shit. Basically pushing that very common toxic masculinity concept that men have to be tough, that men have to fight, that they have to get rough and tumble and everything. That guys, in order to be seen as guys, have to be like that. It's a very common thing that guys have to be tough, guys have to be strong, guys have to fight. Um, it's a very common thing, and it's been one of the many things that I just really get pissed off about when it comes to toxic masculinity. So that being combined with the entire royal super snob attitude, it's like I can see why Sanji hates these people and why he refuses to consider them family. He's literally been abused by them. When his brothers violently, very violently attacked and abused him, his father let it happen and basically said, "I don't care because you're weak." It's basically what he said. It's like, "You're weak. I don't care. I don't even." He basically blatantly said, "I don't even care about you." It's like, you don't matter. And it's such a toxic, just shitty environment to be from. I don't blame him for leaving at all. And he's only back for his friend's sake. That is the only reason he's come back. Like, I've noted it many times throughout the years how the Straw Hat crew are basically a family, with the idea basically being that they're the kind of friends that are as close as a family and that see each other as such. And so it's like, knowing the horrible, shitty lives that all of them have had, they help each other to find that happiness, that familial livelihood with each other. I mean, think about it, all of them have had pretty kind of crappy lives. I mean, Luffy has probably had the best with his brothers and everything, but even so, it's like he didn't know his parents growing up. His grandfather, while not absolutely terrible to him, was a little overly rough and just didn't seem to really think about his own desires. um, and yeah, Curly Dead End wasn't exactly the best either. But then it's like, you have the others. You have like Zoro, who we know nothing regarding his family life either. All we know is that as a kid, he lost his rival and friend who died in an accident, and it scarred him and has made him want to become the greatest swordsman to honor her memory. Nami's childhood was all kinds of fucked up thanks to Arlong. I mean, she was an orphan of war in the first place, but even after that, her adoptive mother was murdered right in front of her. Usopp had a father who left him behind and a mother who died of illness. And because of it, became the town liar just to try and have that little bit of hope. Chopper Chopper had a lot of shit go down with Dr. Hiraluk and Dr. Kureha. And Robin, like, holy shit, Robin, like, went through hell as a kid. Frankie, Brooke, it's like the entire crew has had issues in regards to family situations. But not even only that, but in regards to just their lives in general. And because of it, they are able to come together and be that much closer. They have become their own family for the sake of each other. And so Sanji is seeing them in that way here, while looking at his real family, who he just sees as a bunch of abusive, horrible, evil fuck twats. And you feel so bad for him. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you appreciate that they're building his character like this, but at the same time, it's hard as fuck to watch. It's hard as fuck to watch these pieces of shit with no redeeming qualities treat him like this, either as a kid or now as an adult. But then there's the other aspect of these episodes, which is the seducing forest. Apparently, the forest itself is alive. As we had seen in the past, Big Mom has the devil fruit ability to remove the souls from people and implant them into inanimate objects. She does this a lot with the likes of various sweets and pastries and whatnot. But she also does it with stuff like flowers and trees and all of that, which can lead to some very creepy Alice in Wonderland shit, like in this episode. But so the forest is alive, allowing it to shift its paths. This keeps intruders, in this case, from being able to get back out. It traps them in there. And while in there, they're also hunted down by the 8th daughter of Big Mom, this witch-ass looking motherfucker, Charlotte Brûlé. And Brûlé seems to have some kind of ability to be able to take on the form of others. But not only just take on their form, she can mirror their movements, which is all kinds of messed up. Like, that can lead to some really freaky ass shit going down. And obviously it led to her being able to take Luffy's place in the group. So that's not great. But yeah, the forest tempts people with its delicious sweets and shit. And then everything else just works to trap them in there. I don't know what the fucking deal with the giant dude is. Like, he might honestly be trapped in there himself. He might be a victim too. It's very possible. He mentioned that he liked the apple juice, and there was an apple juice waterfall nearby. So maybe he had gotten trapped in there too. And the burying himself, which he claims is something he chooses to do, on his own. Maybe that's just a way to just do something or keep cool or just he seems a little off, so maybe he's even gone a little crazy being trapped in there. It's possible. But then there's also this other guy, this rabbit guy, who is not a mink, which is important to know because that means it's either a Zoe based devil fruit or something else. Um, but this rabbit dude is normally riding some kind of bird mount and uses weaponry which can be both used very standardly or even as a projectile, as we saw. So I'm interested to know more about that guy. He interests me. Um, so yeah, it's like these episodes have started to build up some interesting things. And it's very clear now, by the way, that the Sanji that they saw was just Brule. And I mean, with it being a member of the Charlotte family, it's not too hard to understand that she would know Sanji. But yeah, it's just there's an insane amount of build up and just things being set up in these episodes. Not a lot of like otherwise big important like heavy moments. It's just like we're clearly going to probably get into a fight with Brule, and we're going to continue to see Sanji's fight with his father. I mean, we haven't caught up in any way with Pedro and Brooke, who have gone on their own thing, so we're probably going to see them again in the future. Um, but honestly, who knows? Because the Dressrosa arc had some very segmented aspects to it. There's like points where you wouldn't see characters like Nami and those who were with her at the time. Like you wouldn't see them for like 50 so episodes at a time, maybe even more. I don't remember exactly how many it was. And it's like there was something that was set up with them beforehand, but then it's just like you just don't see or hear from them again for a shit long time. And it's like it's a little disappointing. But when you make these arcs this big, that's going to happen because you can't focus on everything at once. It would unbalance it, and in a lot of situations, it would make it feel just completely um, just completely like forced in. Everything would feel too forced in, and like it was just too much if you tried to put in everything. And it would overflow, to be honest. It's just there's so much happening, and it's like you want follow up on everything, but you can't have follow up on everything right away. You're going to get it, just it's going to take some time. Now, I don't know exactly how long this arc specifically lasts compared to when the next arc starts. And I think there's a little mini arc between Whole Cake Island and Wano. I think it's called the Reverie. Um, I know almost nothing about that one though. Um, so yeah, it's like we'll see when we get to that. But we're like I was saying like 150 or so episodes behind, somewhere like that, in that range. Um, so because of that, it's like I don't think that this arc is as long as Dressrosa. Dressrosa was really long. So it's like we're going to get through this arc, defeat Big Mom, and continue along. We'll see how it all goes, though. I'm very excited for the future. This is going to be really interesting. Um, but yeah, in the meantime, Tell me what you thought of these episodes down in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.